This game is good. No, but seriously, you know how good it feels to just be able to say that? Hell, the whole 2020s have been amazing for Sonic. Successful movie trilogy, and the Knuckles show, I guess. Frontiers being a huge success, and all of it leading to the year of Edge. The 2010s were dark, to put it lightly, where it felt like the franchise had to climb itself out of a pit to not be seen as a complete joke, even though the games releasing were good. Mostly. Rumors of Adventure remakes started doing the rounds, and the reaction mostly felt like absolutely no way in hell. Because if we were struggling so much for amazing mainline entries, there was no chance that we could get remakes that would do those games justice. But before Frontiers release, we got Sonic Colors Ultimate, a remaster of a game that means a lot to me, which ended up being a big disappointment. Now, second time's the charm, I guess, because to celebrate the Year of Shadow, we got Sonic X Shadow Generations, a title that raises my blood pressure every time I type it into Google. At first sight, this is a pretty weird game. Generations is already available on basically every system, and the obvious thing to expect is that they simply add Shadow as a glorified skin. But that's not what this game is. Not only is this game an almost complete upgrade of Sonic Generations, but might also be the best modern Sonic game yet.
It's been generations since I've seen you. You okay?
Now, nostalgia is a cheap thing, to the point it's been the entertainment industry's current darling, and Sonic is absolutely no stranger to it. Generations is a nostalgia game. Obviously. The whole story is just Sonic's birthday, holes, now you're in a white void, go play iconic levels, rescue your friends, and beat a bad final boss. And also classic Sonic is here. Luckily for Generations, the gameplay, and especially the modern Sonic levels, are excellent, and it's probably the best boost game there is. I'll get to this later. You know what they say.
The more the merrier!
But also, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it looks like they realized this, since gameplay-wise, the remaster is barely touched apart from the drop dash being added, which isn't necessary in this game at all. Now, the big problem with this remaster are the cutscenes. Generations came out when Sonic was going through a creative change, where the writing and characters felt incredibly toned down and kiddie, so most of Sonic's interactions with his friends when you rescue them are really bland, and I'm using interactions loosely here, since neither Sonic actually talks and just stares and does a react pose after the other character's done talking. Well, they rewrote the script, touched up the cutscenes, and redubbed the lines, for better and for worse. On one hand, modern Sonic actually talks with his friends now. Crazy idea, I know. And the dialogue is touched up to be more in line with the current creative direction. This is good in the way that the world and characters actually feel more connected instead of them barely recognizing or acknowledging anything that happened before, especially in a nostalgia game. But I can absolutely understand the criticism where, just like Frontiers, you'll have regular dialogue and then, oh my god, this is just like
reference.
On top of Sonic's replies feeling like he's speaking in a completely separate conversation than the other characters. Don't get me wrong, it's a step up from the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse dialogue, but if you've played the original, it's pretty jarring. Censorship and alterations are a sensitive topic, and for a lot of people, including me, there needs to be a strong reason to justify them, and no, I'm not just talking about bat titties. Small changes like actually showing Robotnik being kidnapped is fine, but certain actions being changed because they might be overly cartoony or deemed to be not in character, and you're gonna get into talks about what actually needs to be changed and why the ones in charge deem them necessary. That and several scenes having to bend the new dialogue around the previously animated scenes could cause some weird things that don't mesh well. It's a weird situation where the changes aren't that big, but if they aren't that big, why would they even have to be changed to begin with? Personally, I'm not massively bothered by it, but you have to be careful that this doesn't set an unnecessary precedent for other remasters or remakes. But apart from the cinematic and dialogue changes, everything still feels as solid as it did before. All the great things are still great, and all the same problems the game had before are still there, so ultimately someone new should still be able to experience this game just fine. But of course, most people didn't buy this for the Sonic Generations part. If you went through the late 2000s to early 2020s, you might have gotten the impression that Shadow the Hedgehog is a 17-year-old's first OC. Well, you'd be wrong, because he was actually created by a bunch of 30-year-old Japanese men, and he's also peak fiction. After his introduction in Adventure 2, Shadow's presentation has been inconsistent, with games like 06 of all things actually presenting him quite well, and then his own game cementing a very poor idea of his character to casual fans for the next couple of years. And being one of the worst victims of the character shift the franchise got, leaving him as a whiny asshole who doesn't care about anyone, swears and thinks it's fine to take candy from kids. He's basically Jeffrey Dahmer. But that was then, and this is now, and we're in the Year of Shadow. Merch, animated shorts, game, and a major movie release with the role being played by Keanu fucking Reeves.
An impressive cop.
It's a pretty smart marketing strategy. Casuals get a streamlined version of SA2's story in the movie and can catch up on the original version with the new game, while also introducing them to some of the most iconic parts of the franchise, and getting one of the best modern Sonic games in one whole bundle. Older fans also get attention to story and characters that have been sidelined for almost 2 decades, while also correcting Shadow's character. Everyone wins! Watch Sonic 3, by the way, it's pure cinema. In the original generation, Shadow isn't at the birthday party, shows up as a rival battle, and has one line during the final showdown where he's presented as a one-dimensional jerk, which is just, no. Bad Sonic team. Now, when I said this game is Shadow Generations, I actually lied. I'm a rapscallion, I know. Because sure, that's what it is in spirit, but what this game actually is Shadow the Hedgehog 2, but without a gun. So it's better. Or worse, depending on your personal beliefs. We got a whole 3-part animated prequel that sets up the events of the game. Black Doom, yeah, remember him?
The devil!
How at the end of Shadow the Hedgehog he died? Well, he didn't. And he's been a silly little goober hanging out in the Ark this whole time and now is using the time distortion caused by the Time Eater in Generations to regain his power and continue his plans of domination. And his new plan includes getting Shadow on his side and then taking him to Radical Highway every 5 seconds. Shadow now gets his own white void to play around in, but unlike Sonic, he gets an entire additional dimension. Now, 30 seconds ago, when I said that I lied and that this game was basically Shadow the Hedgehog 2, well, I was lying then too. I deserve the electric chair, I know. Because what this game actually is Shadow Frontiers. You start in an open world area where your main goal is to go to specific landmarks to complete stages, explore, defeat enemies, and platform to get collectibles. Speaking of stages, these are some of the best 3D and 2D stages I've played. They flow extremely well, enemies aren't just grouped in front of you waiting to get run over like toddlers in a school zone. There's multiple branching paths either easily in sight or accessed through creative ways, and each stage has fun gimmicks to play around with. Stages are split up into 6 worlds, and just like with Sonic and OG Generations, are levels from Shadow's past. Space Colony Arc for obvious Adventure 2 and current story reasons, Rail Canyon from Sonic Heroes, Kingdom Valley from 06, Sunset Heights from Forces, which I'm very happy to see a good version of this stage that is also more than a minute long, Radical Highway because Black Doom really likes that one, and Chaos Island. Yeah, I don't know why this one's here, but I guess they wanted to get a Frontier stage in here somehow. The first act of every stage also gets interrupted by Black Doom coming to check up on you. These moments are really well animated and cinematic, but waste a lot of time on a repeat playthrough. Apart from 2-act main stages, you also have challenge stages. In OG Generations, I hated these. I loved seeing Sonic's friends being incorporated in them, but they were not fun. Vector! But here, they're completely fine. They take the ideas from the base stages and add fun spins on them to make the stages challenging and engaging. Like they should. Outside of the stages, you of course have the White Void. While not as expansive or enemy-rich as Frontiers is, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. At first, you only have a small section and path to follow, and will slowly unlock more areas as stages are completed. Throughout the overworld are stages, challenges, and collectibles like artwork and music to find, and you can also collect bolts for Orbot and Cubot. This side quest exists. The white and gold aesthetic also looks pretty nice in comparison to Frontiers' 4 different flavors of grass, sand, rock, and more grass. While it still suffers a bit from random floating platformitis, it's already more natural looking here, helping you explore Shadow's new powers. Doom Spear to launch auto-aim projectiles at enemies, Doom Blast from when people don't respect your personal space, Doom Surf to seamlessly traverse on water, Doom Morph to become spider swing around and swim like a slippery little sneaky snake, and Doom Wing because why would you turn into Super Shadow when you can fly around as a Dark Angel Hedgehog? Using these abilities, you can go around the overworld and run, fly, surf, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Everything here feels like an upgrade from Frontiers, from the gameplay to the level design to the world traversal. We're not in the phase anymore where we're just throwing gimmicks at the wall every game trying to see if anything sticks. We're actually focusing on a concept, seeing what people liked and disliked about it, taking the feedback and refining and improving it in future games, and it feels great. While exploring the world, you can also bump into important characters to Shadow like Omega, Rouge, Orbot and Cubot, I guess, Big the Cat, and most important of all, Gerald and Maria.
Shadow? You look grim. Are you alright?
I'll be fine. We'll all be fine. Find somewhere safe to hide. I'll take care of it.
You might be wondering how the hell are Geriatric and Michael here and alive since, you know. Simple answer? Time shenanigans, because not only are stages pulled into the time distortion, but also Geraldine and Michelle, so that Shadow can get that sweet, sweet trauma. Now the story follows a track of Shadow completing stages and gaining more powers, with the trade-off being that the stronger he gets, the stronger Black Doom becomes as well. Like a symbiotic relationship. Like, while Gary and Mario keep Shadow grounded and stop him from going full DeviantArt and pulling out the AK again. After completing 2 worlds, you can access the boss gate, the first boss being the Biolizard. It's fine. No, but out of all the bosses, he's the most okay out of the bunch. His first phase being memorable as he tries to chase you around in a circle before eventually getting tired from the minimal effort and you attack his life support. This effort makes it so his cancerous personality can't be contained anymore and his tumor wings erupt from his body, trying to desperately shoo you away. Eventually, deciding that he just doesn't like you, he jumps away, preferring to stick to the wall like a moldy slice of cheese while launching his red, sticky balls at you. Unfortunately for him, this strategy doesn't work and is completely countered by your chaos chemotherapy and the unplugging of his life support. I'm sorry, Grandpa, my Nintendo Switch switch is at only 10% and I'm about to make Leon my bitch. Metal Overlord is easy. The entire boss fight you chase him with your fish, dodging missiles and launching trash at him, which is funny because he is trash. Sea Wyvern, this is how you telegraph a tail attack, you son of a bitch! Then the fight transitions to 2.5D. This phase is also easy. Reflect more trash, dodge more missiles, and counter a fucking ship. For how much dialogue you have to sit through with him, he funnily doesn't amount to much.
Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald? Damn.
Holy fuck, they acknowledge that he exists. Out of all the bosses, Mephiles being here is the most exciting. He is also the most challenging boss in the game for me. If you don't remember 06, and I wouldn't blame you for that, Mephiles was erased from existence along with the rest of the events of that game. This is directly acknowledged as Mephiles understands his situation and wants to exist. He apparently has spent his time not existing, studying the Blade, where he will cover the floor in evil goo and chase you with his $24.95 Tekabuto Boken Katana from Amazon. After letting him know he's a cringe-ass weeb, he calls the only people that don't think he's a loser for backup. Himself. You counter his cringe clones with your powers and push him to reveal his inner beast. This fails and he's sent back to the mines of DeviantArt to be forgotten. All jokes aside, Mephiles is a pretty good boss that makes you utilize almost all of your abilities in a fun challenge, and seeing him actually get acknowledged in any capacity is just pretty neat.
Shadow, it's me, the devil!
Before the end of the game, Black Doom arrives to monologue and push Shadow into joining him, but before Shadow loses it, he's snapped out of it by Maria and reminded that Pookie isn't like this and that he's actually really a good boy. Reassured about his morality, he goes to the Doom Zone to confront Black Doom. Black Doom transforms into his Devil Doom form from the end of Shadow the Hedgehog, because if it failed the first time, surely it will work this time, right? Well, the boss fight proceeds as a more difficult version of Metal Overlord, but before you might think that we've got a Supreme situation on our hands, the second phase turns into a platform section. This raises the difficulty significantly, not just because of the limited platforms and projectiles Doom shoots at you, but also because of how funky Doom Morph controls. Safe to say, my butt cheeks clenched. You get his health bar to 0 and bazinga! It isn't over, because now we're fighting Neo Devil Doom. He's bigger, uglier, and looks 20% more like a vagina. He also switches up his strategy to being an even more slightly difficult version of the Metal Overlord boss and shooting out evil walls to keep you away because you're being a big stinky meanie to him. Well, he finds out you're actually an incredibly big stinky meanie to him by killing him. After killing him, for good we hope, the time disruption is starting to repair itself, which means Julio and Mildred are returning to their previous point in time, where Shadow has to accept and let them both go. After they fade away, Shadow races to rejoin the others in main generation so he can say his one supportive line and a tear flies away from him. Seeing my characters feel things makes me feel things. The story, while limited, honestly did a good job retroactively patching not just Shadow's character, but also improving the events of Generations and tying everything up in a nice, happy little ending. Oh wait. Having completed the main game, you unlock Doom mode to switch the quiet white void to a dark, more depressing landscape that adds more difficult stages, challenges, and bosses to beat to keep yourself occupied. This wraps up the game, and we can now look forward to the future.
Revenge Guac.
To promote the movie, the Digital Deluxe Edition included the Sonic 3 Movie Pack, which released 2 months after the base game came out. It contains 1 stage and a handful of extra stages going through Shibuya, and you play as the movie version of Shadow voiced by Keanu Reeves. Yeah, Keanu Reeves recorded lines for this DLC, and he's okay.
Press cut.
Okay, his voice acting isn't great, which is surprising since his performance in the movie was actually pretty good. I know that there's plenty of instances of non-voice actors delivering bad performances, but the difference between this and the movie is pretty significant and makes me wonder both when and under what circumstances were the lines for the DLC recorded. Besides Keanu's meh vocal performance, the stage itself is pretty damn well designed, apart from having 2 cinematic scenes that take up a chunk of time on the stage. The highlight being this helicopter pilot jumping out before it crashes. The funny thing is him thinking he's safe when at any second you could just jump down and turn him into a red skid mark if you wanted.
An impressive cut.
Sonic's been on a hot streak ever since 2020, and my god, this game continued it. From Sonic 3 becoming the most successful movie out of the trilogy and this game selling great, it's only pushing things further with no sign of stopping. Sonic Racing Crossworlds is looking to be everything that people have wanted from a Sonic racing game, and after seeing the improvements this game made to the open zone gameplay, whatever the Frontier sequel is already shaping up to be something amazing. While this technically isn't a full remake, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I'm absolutely open now to the idea of them remaking the Avenger games and that they can actually pull it off successfully. And don't just stop at them. Heroes remake? Sure. Unleash getting a modern re-release? Absolutely. Shadow the Hedgehog remake? Why not? Do it. I want to kill the president in HD. In a game. FBI, that was a joke. Don't kill me!